Cheap PCP rifles. Are they worth it? Should you buy one? Or should you spend a little bit more? Well, today we're going to find out. So what I'm going to do today is put head to head these two rifles. First is the Smk Pr900W, and the next is the new one from UX called the UX ICONIX. So first up, let's take a look at the Smk Pr900W, or the Smk Victory Pr900W. This one's actually a pre-owned one that I've got in stock, hence a few marks here and there. First glance, it's a neat little gun, tidy, very small air reservoir, so I'm not sure how many shots you're going to get out of that, but we'll come to that later. You have a pressure gauge underneath there. It is not threaded for a sound mod, and I'm guessing that this bit here is just for aesthetics. But it's a 220 pound rifle, new, multi-shot magazine, comes with a single shot tray as well. Safety catch in front of the trigger, and it's very, very light. So let's see how it performs in a little while. And here is the UX ICONIX. This rifle is obviously in a synthetic stock. I personally don't really care for the look of it, but I'm sure many of you will. They look like they've gone for some kind of pump action shotgun design. It feels cheap, I'll be honest. The cylinder looks like it's coming from the same place as the SMK. This is threaded for a sound moderator, 1/2 inch UNF. Your pressure gauge on this one is at the end here. The safety catch is there underneath the trigger, which again feels and looks very cheap. This is 199, so £20 less than the SMK. Side lever, cocking action, comes with multi-shot magazine and single shot tray, just as the other one does. So let's put them through their paces and see which comes out on top. As always, we start with a chronograph test. So I'm going to run a series of shots across the chronograph. Now the ICONIX is in a 177, the PR900 is in a 22, but that doesn't matter because we're looking for the foot pounds. So we're going to see which one achieves more foot poundage over the other one. So everything I do on this channel is completely unbiased. So in the interest of fairness, seeing as the PR900 magazine only holds 7 pellets, I've tested the UX ICONIX with 7 pellets as well, even though that magazine did take 10. So across 7 shots with the PR900 in 2.2, I was using RWS Hobby, which are 11.9 grains, came out with an average of 9.94 foot-pounds. The ICONIX, I was using 8.2 grain RWS R10 match, so light pellets across both guns, and that came out across 7 shots with an average of 9.58. Now, I wasn't expecting masses of power, and I think they're a little bit on the light side, but these are guns that are just over and just under £200, so you can't ask for the world. But I think if you're using them for hunting, maybe you're gonna want to think of something else. Unless you're shooting close range rats, they would be absolutely fine for that. Just quickly touch on the magazines. The SMK loads by rotating the top cover so it's under tension counterclockwise, putting the first pellet in skirt first, turning it back over and running around, dropping them in as you go. The one for the UX is very similar to a Kral and Reximex magazine. You turn the top cover all the way around, drop your first pellet in, and then work your way back counterclockwise. So let's see how they perform with accuracy. So let's start with the UX. One thing to note is I've gone to zero the scope in and I have run out of elevation. So when I bring the target back to show you the results, they will all be low. Now, before I start, I just want to raise this. So the gun is unloaded, cocked, close the lever. This trigger, nope, not gone yet, not yet. That trigger is frankly absolute garbage. It is so hard to pull that I can't imagine you getting a consistent group at the best of times, because you're just pulling and pulling, pulling, and then all of a sudden it goes. But nonetheless, let's put 5 shots down the range and see what group we can achieve. And there is the result. Now you might be thinking that that's not too bad, but we are firing at 10 meters with a 177 using match pellets. Yeah, it has achieved a group, but it's not the tightest, let's be honest. Now it's the turn for the SMK. Just to put things into context, the trigger on the SMK is like this. It's by no means a fantastic trigger, but compared to the UX, it is. So, same test, 5 shots, straight down. I did actually get this scope to zero in properly. So let's see if it is better or worse than the UX. The bolt is it feels like you're really shoving the pellets through the magazine. And there's our result with the SMK. Still not a great result, I'll be honest. At 10 meters, I'm using RWS Hobby, which are a flat-headed pellet, and I think it probably, it's hard to say. I mean, they're both fairly equal results, to be perfectly honest. So now what I'm going to do, as promised, is see how many shots you're going to get from a full charge. So I've filled both guns up and I'm basically going to dry fire them until they are empty. Hit the time lapse. amazingly, the SMK took exactly 200 shots until the tank was completely flat. Now, the last sort of 30 shots were getting weaker and weaker and weaker and weaker, but out of that tiny cylinder, I am very surprised that it took 200 shots to get it completely flat. Now let's do the UX. Now I actually thought that the SMK did very well from start to finish, but the UX actually achieved 343 dry fire shots from full to empty. That's quite amazing. So what is my verdict? Would I buy them? Well, I might buy this one if I was plinking in the garden and just wanted a bit of fun, but I think they could actually share some points from one another. Well, more this one to this one. So I think if they threaded the SMK, that would be a good point. Also, if they put a side lever on the SMK, that would be good. The bolt is very rough and it keeps trying to come unscrewed. The UX, it's surprised me with how many shots it achieved, but I wouldn't buy it, nor will I stock it. That trigger is just far too off-putting for me to recommend to people. And at the end of the day, I've got a reputation to uphold. So there's pros and cons to both. More cons with this one, but I know a lot of you are actually going to like the style of it, and I'll probably get a lot of hatred, but there we go. Similar accuracy, similar power, similar price, and I suppose it's down to you whether you would buy one. And before I go, I better tell you the origin of the rifles. They are both clearly Chinese. For £200, could you do better? I think I'm going to have to do some research and review a few more to see whether they're setting a benchmark or whether they could be better. I hope you've all enjoyed watching, and until next time, I'll see you then.